Awesome Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my double feature New Year's review of Kiramager episode 36 and 37. I've gotten actually quite a bit of requests about this, and I was never not going to review it. I just got really busy with the holiday week and everything, so I'm sorry about that, but this is scheduled to go up either on New Year's Day or January 2nd, so I decided to double feature them. But I want to say I really appreciate everybody that wanted to see the review and asked about it. Like, it means a lot to me just in terms of the videos I make for this, and it's kind of nice to see how many people care about Kiramager. But let's go ahead and talk about both episodes. Both of them were very good episodes. Very Kiramager classic stuff where you have an episode that's kind of fillery but also important, or you think it's going to be more fillery in a way, or more solo focused, and then it ends up being a big plot. So the first one was kind of their holiday special that revolved around this idea of a Crystallian holiday where you basically don't say bad things about people, aka living in the Power Rangers universe. But things go awry when the monster of the week sort of puts the 4 out of the 5 Rangers, or at least first 4 out of the 5 Rangers, in a trance that caused them to say bad things, and they basically trash talk the Crystallians, or the robots, the monsters, the mecha. I don't know, I was going for monsters. Anyway, they trash talk him and say, like, well, you know, you don't really care about us, you know, you only really care about your own planet, and it caused a rift, not only because of what they said to him, but because it's on the day where you're not supposed to say bad things. And it initially only leaves Red and Silver, but then Silver eventually gets wrapped into it too. Get it? Wrapped? So then it just leaves Juru on his own. And there's an interesting scene where he then goes to talk to Fire and says, like, you know, they didn't mean it, and he's like, yeah, I know that you might not have meant it, but you're kind of right, you know. And it was really interesting because it wasn't just, you know, them saying generic bad things for the sake of the plot. Like, it brought up an interesting conversation about the relationship between the Crystallians and the humans and the mutual beneficial nature of it, and like what's going to happen after the fight's done and stuff like that. But it culminates in Juru getting into a rap battle with the monster of the week, and initially he can't win until Fire shows up and helps him out, and he's able to defeat him. And it's a fun sequence. It's definitely a fun sequence, and I think it's a classic example of Kiramager, where it's like kind of a funny, dumb premise, but there's actually a lot of heart and meaning to it. But he's able to free the others from the spell, and then they end on like a nice note with him and Fire talking about how, you know, basically they're always gonna remain friends. Like, this wasn't a huge plot-heavy episode necessarily, but it was a really nice episode. Like, it had a fun premise. It wound up being heartfelt, that really went to the core of the bond between the Crystallians and the humans, the Crystallian mecha and the humans, and there was a bunch of nice scenes along with it. And then there was also like a really cool roll call of like all the mecha and all the humans, which actually gets called up to in the next episode. So even though this one was a little bit more standalone character focused, it wound up tying into 37. Now, speaking of 37, this was an almost more classic one of the ones we've gotten recently where you think it's going to be a filler and then it really smacks you over the head with something important. But even if this hadn't had the important ending, it would have been a fantastic episode. And the basic premise has Senna getting accidentally split into 5 different Sennas, each one representing a different aspect of her personality, while Udana also gets a call from the Master, not the Master from Mystic Force, but, you know, from the King Udon Empire, saying he wants her to get a meeting with King Oradin. And those are the two things going on. And the Senna thing winds up obviously being played for some fun effect, but it's largely, its large importance is the 5th Senna is like the sort of doubtful, more negative Senna, and she's like doubtful of herself in general, and that she should even be put back into the formation. And when they put all the Sennas back together, they put 4 out of the 5 together and create this uber positive Senna, and the 5th one's like, well, you don't really need me. This is like the ideal Senna. This is her without the negative stuff put in there, and she winds up running off. And then when they get into battle, even though there's a lot of positives, obviously, to the positive Senna, she winds up screwing up, and Sayo has this nice scene with negative Senna on the beach, where she's like, you know, you are important. I know you don't feel like it because you're the negative out of a sea of positives, but it's that negative aspect of Senna that will run the worst case scenarios in battle and account for them, and that's not what was happening because 4 positive Senna wasn't thinking about that. She was only thinking like, oh, only this good thing is going to happen when I do this in battle, and she wasn't thinking about the consequences of doing stuff in battle. And it was a really nice scene between the two of them, really well acted, really nice scene when all 4 Senna reunited with 5 Senna, and they defeated the monster, and you know, everything was good. But so that alone, I think, would have been a solid episode. Both, I think it's a good, focus episode on Senna, and I think it's a good lesson episode that's not forced and feels organic to the human condition, which is something Power Rangers doesn't really do. But I thought that was really nice. So that alone I think would have been a solid episode. But then you're getting hit with one of those classic Kiramager things we've gotten recently where all of a sudden it's more important than you think it is. And at the end it turns out the master of the Udon Empire comes out of Udana. I don't know how that works. Like, is she even real? Is she just a faux vessel? Or does he transport through her? I'm a little bit confused by it. But he basically comes out of her. You know how it is! Once King Oridan shows up for the battle since they were struggling and basically issues a warning to the Kiramagers that he's about to take over soon. He's like, well, for now I'm going to go back in Udana because we got like 9 episodes left. Zenkaiger was just revealed, so we got some time. But then I'm a-comin'. And, you know, then the Kiramagers are just kind of sitting on that. So that was just unexpected. Like I said, 37 was really good, but then at the end it really ramped things up in a cool way with a big reveal and a cool moment. And these were 2 great episodes. I'd probably give them both an 8. Both of them were very enjoyable, but also very important and kind of contained all the different hallmarks of what makes Kiramager really enjoyable. But what did you guys think of these episodes? Let me know in the comments as always. I'm going to try to be more consistent and regular with the recordings throughout the rest of the season. I've tried to be that way with Kiramager in general, but you know, sometimes holiday stuff happens. But anyway, that's about it for this one. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.